My beloved child, there was a moment, quiet, delicate, almost unnoticed by everyone around you, when your true emotions slipped out without you even becoming aware of it. Not through dramatic words, not through some emotional confession spoken aloud. It happened through the shift in your energy whenever their name entered your thoughts, through the hesitation before you responded, through the silent ache you worked so hard to conceal behind your strength. And somehow, they sensed it. Not faintly, not incompletely, but entirely. The truth reached them like a wave finally touching the shore after crossing an ocean filled with distance, confusion, and uncertainty. Since that exact moment, something inside them has struggled to remain calm. Do not skip ahead, because what happened after that realization carries more emotion than you currently understand. At first, they attempted to continue their life as though nothing had changed. Conversations still surrounded them. Plans continued being discussed. People still expected their focus and attention. But their thoughts continuously wandered somewhere else, toward you, toward the strange peace they suddenly felt after realizing your heart had been holding emotions that reflected their own secret inner world. What shocked them was not that they never wished for it. What shocked them was that they had convinced themselves it could never truly happen. They spent so much time emotionally preparing for distance that they completely forgot how powerful closeness could feel once it finally becomes real. And now every ordinary thing around them feels delayed, incomplete, almost meaningless. There is something important waiting for you in this message. The instant they understood your feelings, they stopped acting as though time was endless. That illusion vanished immediately. Suddenly, every postponed message carried weight. Every canceled opportunity felt empty. Every distraction became nothing more than noise. They started replaying memories you probably believed had already faded from their mind. The softness in your voice during certain conversations, the emotion hidden inside your silence, the subtle changes in your energy whenever they emotionally pulled away from you. It all makes sense to them now. Every confusing moment suddenly became clear at once, like lights finally turning on inside a room they had wandered through blindly for far too long. And here is what almost nobody around them fully understands. They are not moving quickly because of pressure. They are moving quickly because something inside them awakened. There is a difference between those two things. Pressure fades away. Awakening transforms everything. The realization that your feelings are sincere has touched a part of them that remained protected for longer than even they realize. Even they are surprised by the depth of what they feel now. Their heartbeat carries urgency. Their thoughts race faster than before. Sleep has become unusual because their mind keeps imagining what happens next. Imagining what it would feel like to finally stand before you without fear interrupting the moment. Listen closely, because this next part matters more deeply than you know. They are beginning to realize that the connection between you was never built on shallow attention. It survived silence. It survived confusion. It survived moments where both of you nearly walked away emotionally just to protect yourselves from disappointment. And somehow, despite everything, the feeling stayed alive, quietly and patiently, like a hidden light beneath layers of doubt and uncertainty. That understanding has changed the direction of their choices far more than they expected. Plans they once believed mattered now feel temporary. Places they once intended to go no longer hold the same emotional meaning. Even the people around them can feel their energy shifting, although they cannot explain the reason behind it. Stay until the end, because there is a reason this emotional energy feels so strong right now. They are beginning to move differently, not recklessly, not impulsively, intentionally. It is the kind of intention that only appears when someone finally stops running away from what their heart has secretly known for a very long time. There is a growing certainty inside them that your feelings were never random. And if your emotions are genuine, then perhaps this connection deserves honesty instead of hesitation. That thought alone has quietly changed the atmosphere around their entire life. Their priorities are rearranging themselves almost without permission. And still, they have not fully revealed everything to you yet. That is the part creating this emotional tension inside them. Because once someone realizes they are truly loved, silence begins to feel heavier than words. Every delayed conversation starts feeling unfinished. Every missed opportunity echoes louder in their thoughts. They keep imagining what they would say if they suddenly stood before you without warning. Would they finally admit how often you occupy their mind? Would they tell you about the nights they replayed your conversations, searching for hidden meanings between simple words? Would they confess that they tried to emotionally move on and failed every single time because your presence remained inside their spirit long after every interaction ended? There is another layer to this story that you still cannot fully see. The moment they recognized your true feelings, they also realized how much emotional weight you had been carrying alone. That realization affected them deeply. They began viewing your strength differently. What once appeared to be calmness now feels like emotional bravery to them. What once seemed distant now feels careful, sincere, protective. And instead of pushing them further away, that realization pulled them emotionally closer than ever before. Sometimes people only recognize the depth of love after understanding how quietly it had been protected all along. Right now, while you continue living your everyday routines, something extraordinary is unfolding behind the scenes. Their inner world is changing direction in real time. The future they once imagined without you suddenly feels incomplete. And that feeling continues growing stronger with every passing day. They are questioning delays, reconsidering old decisions, rearranging priorities, not because anyone pressured them, but because your truth finally reached their heart at the exact moment they could no longer ignore their own emotions. And before this chapter ends, there is something you need to hear very carefully. The energy surrounding this connection no longer feels uncertain to them. Emotional confusion is slowly being replaced by clarity. The walls they once built out of fear are beginning to crack beneath the weight of honesty they can no longer suppress. They know now that what exists between you is rare, gentle, deep, difficult to explain with ordinary language. And that realization is guiding them toward a decision they never expected to make this soon. Because somewhere, at this very moment, they are letting go of plans they once believed were important and moving closer toward the one thing their heart refuses to lose. There is something almost unbelievable about the way destiny shifts when two hearts finally stop hiding from the same truth. One moment, life appears ordinary, and the next, everything begins moving beneath the surface without warning. That is exactly where they are now. Ever since discovering how deeply you feel, their world has become filled with interruptions they cannot explain. Ordinary conversations suddenly lose meaning halfway through. Their attention drifts away in the middle of tasks. Even the laughter around them feels distant, because their thoughts continuously return to you again and again, like a magnetic force quietly pulling them toward a future they once tried to avoid imagining. And what makes this even more emotional is that they never expected your feelings to be this real. They hoped, yes, but hope is very different from certainty. Hope can be ignored. Hope can be dismissed during moments of fear, but certainty changes people completely. The moment they realized your emotions were genuine, something inside them softened instantly. The emotional defenses they spent so much time building suddenly felt unnecessary. They began recognizing how much energy they wasted pretending not to care as deeply as they actually did. And now that truth is becoming impossible for them to hide from themselves. Even in moments where they try to focus on other responsibilities, your presence quietly returns to their mind. Not because they are forcing it, but because the connection itself no longer feels avoidable. It feels real, alive, constant, almost like something their soul recognizes before their mind can explain it logically. There are moments now where they stop in complete silence, overwhelmed by the realization that someone truly understands them emotionally in a way they never expected to experience. And what affects them even more deeply is realizing that you carried those emotions quietly for so long without demanding anything in return. That realization humbles them. It softens them. It makes them reflect on every moment where fear created unnecessary distance between you. They are beginning to understand that love does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it survives quietly, beneath silence, distance, hesitation, and time, until both people are finally ready to face it honestly. And now, readiness is slowly replacing fear inside them. The hesitation that once controlled their choices is weakening day by day. They still have moments of uncertainty, moments where old fears attempt to return, but something stronger keeps pulling them forward emotionally. Something deeper than logic keeps reminding them that connections like this do not appear often in life. That is why their energy feels different now. Their heart no longer wants temporary distractions. Their soul no longer feels satisfied with pretending everything is normal. Because deep down, they know something important has already changed between you, even if not every word has been spoken aloud yet. And while the outside world continues moving as usual, inside them, an entirely different reality is unfolding. Every memory involving you carries new meaning now. Every interaction feels more important. Even your silence speaks to them differently than before. They are noticing details they once overlooked. They are understanding emotions they once tried to suppress. Most importantly, they are beginning to understand that losing you emotionally would create a sadness they are no longer willing to risk experiencing. That awareness is changing the direction of their future more than anyone realizes. Because once the heart recognizes something real, pretending becomes exhausting, avoidance becomes painful, distance becomes unbearable. And that is exactly where they find themselves now, standing between the life they were trying to maintain and the truth their heart can no longer ignore. The truth is simple. Your feelings reached them, deeply, completely, permanently. And ever since that moment, nothing inside them has felt the same again. The guarded side of them, the version that carefully calculated every interaction, every sentence, every emotional risk, slowly started fading away. Quietly, gradually, yet in a way that now feels permanent. They are no longer exhausting themselves trying to emotionally move on, because now they finally understand why they never truly managed to. Somewhere deep inside, a truth remained alive no matter how much they tried to silence it. Do not skip this part, because there was a hidden moment within all of this that completely shifted everything for them. It happened late at night, during one of those silent hours when the world becomes still enough for honesty to finally rise to the surface without interruption. No distractions, no noise, no pretending. only silence and the memory of you lingering in their mind. They sat there replaying moments they once ignored without realizing how meaningful those moments actually were. Tiny details returned unexpectedly, carrying an emotional weight stronger than before. The way your energy changed whenever they emotionally pulled away. The silent care hidden inside your patience. The emotional control you carried while your heart was still quietly speaking through your actions. And suddenly, something struck them deeply. You were loving them even during the moments when they were struggling to love themselves. That realization created an emotional urgency inside them that they can no longer push away. Now, every hour feels slower. Every delay feels heavier than before. They keep asking themselves how much time was wasted pretending this connection meant less than it truly did. And maybe the strongest part of all this is that they are no longer focused on protecting their pride anymore. Now, they are focused on emotionally reaching you before another misunderstanding creates distance between you again. Because once someone experiences the rare comfort of feeling genuinely wanted, not for appearance, not for convenience, not for temporary attention, but for who they truly are inside, it becomes almost impossible to return to emotional emptiness again. Something important is unfolding, because they are beginning to notice signs of you everywhere around them now. Songs suddenly feel different. Random places unexpectedly remind them of conversations you once shared together. Even the most ordinary moments somehow carry your presence without warning. This is not obsession. This is emotional awakening. The kind that happens when the heart finally catches up with what the soul understood long ago. And the more they try resisting it, the stronger the feeling becomes. Your energy remains around them in ways they cannot logically explain to themselves. There are moments during the middle of their day when they stop completely just to think about what they truly want. And for the first time in a very long while, the answer feels incredibly simple. Peace, honesty, you. Not the imagined version of you they created from emotional distance, but the real version of you. The one who remained emotionally sincere, even while hiding feelings out of fear of being misunderstood. That authenticity affected them far more deeply than dramatic gestures ever could. Because somewhere deep down, they know how rare it is to find someone whose emotions remain steady in a world where feelings change so quickly. And now they are slowly beginning to move emotionally toward you with less hesitation than before. You may not completely notice it yet, but the emotional shift has already started happening. Their responses are changing. Their attention toward you is becoming more intentional than before. Even their silence feels different now because it is no longer filled with confusion. It is filled with anticipation. They are carefully thinking about timing, about words, about how to approach this connection without damaging the fragile emotional truth that finally surfaced between both of you. Stay until the end, because what they are realizing right now is something they never openly admitted before. They are not afraid of loving you. They are afraid of how deeply they already love you. That realization arrived suddenly, almost too quickly for them to fully process emotionally. One moment they believed they still had control over everything emotionally, and the next moment they found themselves imagining futures where your presence exists naturally beside them. Small futures, quiet futures, meaningful futures. The kind of futures built on emotional safety instead of emotional games and confusion. And those thoughts frighten them only because they feel real. More real than anything else they tried distracting themselves with before. There is also a growing emotional regret inside them now. Not toxic regret, not guilt meant to hurt them. Just a soft sadness over the distance that existed while both hearts were secretly feeling similar emotions at the same time. They keep wondering how many moments could have unfolded differently if honesty had arrived earlier. How many nights both of you spent missing one another while pretending to remain emotionally composed and unaffected. And that realization has made them determined not to waste another opportunity placed in front of them by fate. Right now, while you remain unaware of many things happening quietly behind the scenes, they are slowly reorganizing their emotional world around the possibility of you becoming part of their future. Some plans are already being postponed.